What up, Suns fans? We are here post game. My name's Ashton. I am one of the Valley Boys, and we are here after an embarrassing loss again of the Suns against the Rockets, 118, 109, and Suns lose in embarrassing fashion. And we'll get to more. We'll get to talking about this all and more after this quick break.
Kevin Durant delivers. Gorgeous move for Bradley Beal.
Personally, I feel like that brother needed help.
Devin Booker with the clutch three.
Okay, so that finishes up for game 60 of the Suns. Suns lose once again. Now, this is pretty bad. But I have to do a little bit of house cleaning, a little bit of chores around here first. So you may notice that I am here alone by myself. There's usually some other guy in here with me, but unfortunately, we have breaking news. Okay, we have a live injury report, and I hate to bring this up on such short notice, but I don't know if you guys could see this, but Kyle, who usually helps me record these, he is out for tonight. Officials say that it's not that serious, but we will be expecting him soon. Okay. He is currently out on for what officials call watching Dune 2. It's not serious. He'll be back tomorrow against the Oklahoma Thunder. But with that out of the way, Suns. Wow. This game was the pinnacle of a disaster. Okay? If there was anything that could go wrong tonight, it went wrong. All right. And it probably would have been such it would have been a things to come just from that first quarter. Okay. Now that first quarter was really bad. Okay. Rockets scored 38 while Suns only scored 19. That is rough. Okay. You're not going to win any games by scoring that. And this night was just, it could be contributed to multiple players, notably Grayson Allen. He was just really bad today. And it wasn't his best game. Usually he's the number one three-point scorer. But unfortunately, tonight was not his game. Oof. He was bad. Now, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I just want to give a quick apologies. This is my first time streaming, so I'm a little under the pressure here. Never done something like this, so that might be why things might be a little frantic today. But today we got to see the first game. Beal had come back since All-Star break, and it wasn't all the night that I think we weren't expecting. Beal ended up getting ejected in the third quarter. I have a lot of things to say about that. Actually, you know what? I don't know why I'm stopping myself on this, because here's the thing. That technical on Beal was refs. This game was. Let's just start here. The refs were a little weird this game. Granted, they're always going to be weird, but tonight they were pretty awful. I'm saying that with a hint of saltiness because of the way they ref some of this game. Giving Suns ended the game with 4 technicals, and you can argue that it was undeserved, and some of it wasn't. Like Beal, he had that scuffle. If you're going to see one clip tonight, it's probably this Beal scuffle with Jalen Green. And I'll admit, Beal did look like he instigated the fight a little by shoving Jalen Green. But the final ref call ended up being 2 technical fouls on Beal, therefore getting ejected, and then 1 on Green. Now, I could understand the two-way technical, but Beal getting a second technical and getting tossed for that, come on, that's way too overboard. I personally think it was a really bad call. And if we're getting further into this discussion, some of the other ones, Royce O'Neal had a pretty bad one. He hit a major 3 during a comeback, one of the comebacks. He hit a major 3 and then hit a little celebration, and he got a tech. What? I don't get it. Because if you're making a statement by giving a tech to Royce O'Neal, saying, hey, you can't do this, that's unsportsmanlike, then what the heck were the refs looking at when later in the game, Jalen Green got a breakaway 2-on-1 fast break. He dunks it, and he's screaming, and then there's no call. This could be added on to a bunch of other instances of just missed calls. But like, if you're going to set a standard, then at least stick to it. Because it's getting to a point where it seemed pretty unfair. But refs are whatever. Right? I'm not going to come here and say the refs lost us the game. Because we still could have won. We had a chance. But unfortunately, just all the minute details that usually all coalesce in a game and usually win a game, all the finer bits, all just didn't go our way. We weren't getting rebounds. KD was turning it over. Book was getting picked off. Like, it all wasn't going our way. Threes weren't going in. Grayson Allen was having a rough night. And, you know, honestly, even with all the adversity that the Suns faced tonight, we still had a pretty good chance. Now, this could be morphed into whatever kind of motivational speech or kind of coping mechanism you want as a Suns fan. But we came pretty close, even though Nurk went out in, I believe, the second quarter. I actually don't know. But Nurk went out in the second quarter. And then Beal went right after him. Now, down 2 starters, that's not that bad. And, well, actually, I don't know what to say. If down 2 starters, that's pretty bad. All right, we had pretty much every right to lose after that one. Like, people would expect that. But in the late game, we did get it into within 1, which then we lost. So, pretty devastating. This game could have been totally winnable, but unfortunately, the Rockets, you got to give them their flowers. They just outpaced the Suns. They executed perfectly, and it was a rough night. Okay, so I guess another thing I kind of been touching on for this whole podcast is injuries. Now this one's scary, and I bet a lot of Suns fans feel a lot scared now. As I mentioned, so this is Beal's first game back. He looked fine. I'll be honest, I didn't catch like the first quarter so much, but before he got ejected, he was 50% from the free throw line, or not the free throw, from field goal range, and he was 1 of 1 from deep. So he had 7 points. He got a couple rebounds, a couple assists. Like, Beal was doing fine, and it is great seeing him without the mask, because we all knew that was bothering him pre All-Star break. So it looked really good until he inevitably got ejected. That one's bad. But I think one of the worst parts that contributed to this night being such a disaster was injuries. And I'm going to loop back to this, as in, I think it was the second quarter. Nurk was going for a rebound. This is to my memory, so it might not be 100% accurate, but Nurk was going for a rebound, and then Okogie like slapped him across the face, because I think he was going for the same rebound. Okay, this might not be that accurate, but what ended up at the finalized details was Okogie whacking Nurk across the face, and he ended up leaving during halftime due to neck spasms. Now, Nurk being injured is a pretty big problem, and he was doing really well tonight. Before he even exited the game, he possibly looked on pace for a triple-double. 5 assists, 10 rebounds, 7 points. He was pretty much owning Şengün. But just unfortunate carelessness and kind of like the rush of the moment ended up led to a friendly fire. So we don't know how long Nurk could possibly be out, but Nurk is probably one of the biggest players I fear missing out, because looking at plus and minus, I'm pretty sure Royce O'Neal has taken over Nurk, but Nurk has the most impact often on court that of any other Sun, right? He just plays better. He's a great big body. He works well with the starting lineup, the big three, right? It's a nice fit, and it just works well. But it's every time he goes out, and this is partially why the duality day and night of Nurkic and then Eubanks, because Eubanks is the worst plus and minus on our team. He's absolutely terrible when he steps on the court. But so losing Nurk that's tough. And going forward, especially now with this last Houston Rockets game, the schedule gets really tough from here on out. We are facing playoff contender after playoff contender, and we need Nurk. Obviously, the expectation was that we'd have Nurk for these games, but after this game, that might be unlikely. And it's rough because he's coming off of an injury, basically. Off of an ankle sprain, I believe, from the start of All-Star break. But that was pretty bad, right? Friendly fire. It didn't even come from a Rocket player. It was just self-inflicted by Kogi, and Kogi didn't mean it. He was just showing hustle, which he always is great at. But Nurk was caught in the crossfire, and it sucks that we have to deal with this now. But Suns fans could let that go. All right. Missing Nurk is really bad. But probably what was worse and the cherry on top of this garbage pile of a night was late in the fourth. Booker was on Van Fleet, guarding Van Fleet, and Royce O'Neal is right beside him on the right, on Booker's right. Booker outstretches his leg a bit, and he steps on O'Neal's foot, and he rolls his ankle. Now, it looks like he rolls his ankle, and he heads to the locker room. Missing Nurk is already such a devastation to this team, but if Book is out for God knows how long, that is so bad. The best we could do is just pray that it wasn't that major and he'll miss minor time. But it really does suck that this keeps happening to the Suns. We could never stay healthy. It sucks. It's always one step forward, two steps back. We're so back, it's all over. So what do we do now? Well, I kind of partially already answered this. We're just gonna have to see what happens as the time we're doing this. I don't think there's been a statement about Book, so we're just gonna have to see. Yeah. So, a terrible night of execution, Suns being disorganized and messy, and a mixed night of injuries, bad calls, and just probably lack of effort contributes to this Suns loss. And it's devastating. It truly is. So I'm going to end it off with one last segment here before this whole thing wraps up. This game was a disaster, especially for it all to happen on the beginning of the first night of our back-to-back is really bad. But I'm going to lighten it up here, lighten the mood here with this final segment. And that it was tonight, Ring of Honor, Amar'e Stoudemire is inducted to the Suns Ring of Honor. Number 32 is now in those glorious rafts. I will be honest, if you've been watching these Suns Valley Boys videos for a while, you know I'm pretty new. I've only been following the Suns for probably less than a year now. I only started to really watch when KD got traded here. So I haven't seen that much of Amar'e Stoudemire. But since I've watched every game, I've seen Sean Marion's one, And you know what? I'm pretty glad that they moved it from post-game, a post-game ceremony to halftime, for multiple reasons. Because that Knicks game didn't go our way. Jalen Brunson had dropped 50, and you know most Suns fan had left by the time the ceremony took place. So I'm glad that I saw a lot more people at the ceremony this time, and that's great. He deserves it. But that's really all I could say about Amar'e Stoudemire. It was great. It was emotional. It was powerful. And yeah, but if I do have to say one thing about the ceremony, is I believe it was when they were announcing Amar'e Stoudemire to come and give his speech, and the broadcast, it was air horns. They were blasting air. What? What is that? That's kind of goofy. to ruin this kind of emotional, beautiful moment with a couple of air horns. They did it again. They did it at the Shawn Marion. They did it there. They didn't learn their lesson. Okay. So at least we could end it off with a happy note. I guess I could add on KD also looked pretty normal. He had his color back this game. And especially if you've been watching the last couple of games, you'd notice that KD hasn't been his tip-top shape, the kind of KD that we all know he is. The type of player, the great player. But this night, he showed it. He looked back to normal. It's just a shame that the rest of the team dropped like flies. So, yeah, that will do it for today's episode. Suns are on a back-to-back currently, so rough starter to that one. We'll be back here again tomorrow covering the post-game. You'll see our post-game reaction of Suns versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. And, yeah, we'll see you guys then. Peace. Go Suns.